He's the T-Rex of political talk. Alex Jones on the GCN Radio Network.
We are live. Thank you so much for joining us. It is December 17th, 2008. We'll be live here for the next 2 hours and 52 minutes. Congressman Ron Paul is our guest until the bottom of the hour. He said time and time again, going back many years ago, it's in my film Matrix of Evil, when he gave a speech here in Austin, saying that when the Federal Reserve System collapses the economy, when they go into hyperinflation, they will either succeed in setting up their world government out of that crisis, or we will succeed in laying the groundwork to educate the public about the fact that these supposed saviors are really the author of our financial doom, the doom of our prosperity. We are now at that crossroads. This is the critical time for all those that love liberty to educate their friends, family, neighbors, the media about what we truly face. That's why the Federal Reserve has dispatched their bank governors and thousands of their employees to public schools, to corporate conferences, to universities to brainwash the public that they're actually our saviors. And so we are joined now to the bottom of the hour by Congressman Ron Paul. Sir, you've said this is a key time for us, and on the House Banking Committee, you're one of the lone voices really exposing what's happening. What is this opportunity, and how do we do away with the Federal Reserve?
I think everybody knows we're in a crisis right now. And they have now gotten to the point where they don't trust the government, which is healthy. A lot of people are begging and pleading, and they're lining up. But, you know, the average guy outside of Washington, especially so many of the young people, are realizing that it's all been a hoax. And this is the time to really expose the hoax. So although I've been trying to do that for 30 years to prevent the problems, I think we have a real opportunity now to direct our attention to the real culprit, and that is those who control the monetary system, those who counterfeit our money and cause the financial bubbles and then the recessions, and now they're working real hard on a depression. So and it's easy to become despondent, and I know a lot of people say, why waste your time? You can't do this, and we should just escape and buy guns and all this kind of thing. But, you know, I think we should see this as an opportunity because we have made inroads. I think computers and websites and talk radio and the Internet has given us a real opportunity to spread our message. So hopefully I'm not being overly optimistic, but I see it as a chance for us to get our message out.
Congressman, specifically, 8 weeks ago, Congressman Sherman, Senator Inhofe is now on record that in closed joint committee meeting, that Secretary of the Treasury Paulson and Bernanke threatened them with physical martial law, not House rules martial law, but physical martial law, and said there will be a depression next Monday, a total stock market collapse if you don't do this. And they promised the public total transparency in the banker bill, but I read it. It was clearly a takeover. Now, Bloomberg reports as of a week and a half ago, $8.5 trillion stolen. The Bloomberg original lawsuit, going back 6 weeks ago when $2 trillion had gone up missing, the Federal Reserve is telling Congress, telling the people, refusing FOIA request, saying it's secret where the trillions went. Can you speak to the fact that they literally terrorize the public and the Congress to go along with the banker takeover bill, and then now in the aftermath we see a financial dictatorship forming, with the Financial Times of London last week calling for world government and saying the bankers shall be the rulers of the world government.
And this is the whole point, and that is governments that want to take over and undermine our liberties and have more power always use the fear factor. They did this leading up, to the war in Iraq. Remember how they said, if we don't go in there, such and such is going to happen. So they build up the fear, and they do it on foreign policy. Now they're doing it on economic, monetary, and financial problems. And yet the dilemma that we have is that we're scared too. There should be a lot of fear. It's knowing the truth that counts. They use the weapon of fear dishonestly, but in many ways, we have to talk about the dangers too. And we should think, I guess, us telling people the truth and be more realistic rather than just beating the drums of fear so that people capitulate and do anything the government wants. But it is very dangerous the big question is do they have any possible answer to this? They scare everybody. Here they've committed $8.5 trillion. They're stealing from the people. They're destroying the dollar. The dollar went down 7% in the last week. And they're just making problems so much worse. And the ultimate threat to us is not only the loss of wealth and destruction of the dollar. The ultimate threat is the loss of our liberties. I've always said that if we lost everything tomorrow, if we had our liberty and got rid of the IRS and had sound money, I think we could all go back to work and realizing that everything we earn we can keep. I mean, we become so wealthy so quick we could overcome this mess. But unfortunately, it's an uphill struggle, but we have to fight it.
Congressman, specifically, I mean, you are the worldwide leader or the standard bearer for exposing the international banking cartel. Specifically, is this economic terrorism to say we're going to have a depression if you don't give us tens of trillions of dollars? And then basically take on these omnipotent powers, as Congressman Kucinich in committee a few weeks ago called it. I mean, is this not hardcore criminality? Don't we need to point out that these are criminals, just like Madoff, the former head of the NASDAQ, running his own Ponzi scheme with the brokerage firms? It's now coming out that it's system-wide. I mean, don't we need to call for grand juries to do investigations and indict some of these people? Because if we don't do that, they're still going to continue to pose as our saviors.
Yeah, and we should, but some are more culpable than others. Because some know exactly what they're doing, but there's so many people that still exist that do get talked in, just like very, very good people were talked into voting to give the president power to go to war, and they were just too naive and went along with it. A lot of people are doing that now. They didn't want to vote for the bailout, and they heard those threats, and they said, oh, my God, I don't want to be on record of doing this. So they are terrorized by this. But, if we go after Madoff, which we should, we don't need, more regulatory agencies. What we need is just the enforcement of fraud laws and point it out and go after these guys. So, in a way, this is small potatoes. He's small potatoes compared to the fraud of the Federal Reserve. What about the fraud? What about the Ponzi scheme called Social Security? Who are you going to indict for Social Security?
Well, let me ask you this question. Now Congress is talking about taking over even private IRAs in hearings and then sending the money back to the people as a government check, but taxing it. I mean, they're clearly getting ready to raid the pension funds and Social Security. How do we stop that?
Well, we have to, be aware of it, and as it approaches, we have to get the people organized. But the question will be, are there more people that want the money or more people holding the IRA and 401ks? And unfortunately, there's probably more people on the dole, and they might just not want to fight it. And, with the crowd moving in, as bad as the last administration was, when it comes to economic matters and tax matters, I mean, we have even a tougher road to hoe, from here on out. So, that one will be hard to fight. But I think what will happen is, before they do that, I think the crisis will build to such a point and the dollar collapse will come, because I think it would take them a year or so to do that, and it would just add more fuel to the fire. But right now, things are moving rather rapidly, and who knows what will come even in the next 3
Congressman, we lost you there on your cell phone. And, John, to catch that time back up, I'm going to skip this network break. This is a network break. So for stations out there, we're skipping this break. You'll get your break at the bottom of the hour. Congressman, good to have you back. Specifically, sir, on record from you on the Banking Committee, was it not economic terrorism to have the president and the president-elect at the time, Barack Obama, and others saying, before he was even elected, if you don't pass this, we're going to have a depression? That then introduced this idea to people and accelerated the markets dropping 1,000 points the day they said that. Was that not economic terrorism?
Obviously it was, and they should be held responsible for this. But like I mentioned, they do that all the time. That's their technique, is always to build the tremendous fear up in the hearts of the people, whether it has to do with foreign policy and the reason we have to go to war now on economic matters, terrorize the people and say that we are your saviors and we're the only ones that can take care of you. The only thing that can counteract this is a different philosophy, a convincing argument that free markets and sound money and no Federal Reserve and limited taxes the things that made America great. We have to get more people to endorse our views, and I think the opportunity is coming because the system that they're trying to patch together right now will not work.
Well, specifically, they promised this would fix things, but it only gets worse the more the bailouts continue. And now they're talking about, quote, bailing out the auto industry, but that's not even what it is. They're going to nationalize it and have Obama's cabinet cronies in there controlling that as a political tool and literally taking over the unions. I mean, how dangerous is that, sir?
Well, it's tremendously dangerous because although we've been creeping in that direction, this is an endorsement of nationalization. If they keep token ownership with the corporations, which they probably will, then it's called fascism, and it's building up on this so-called partnership. This morning on one of the business stations, they were bragging about how great Bernanke was, and he should be called the man of the year because he understands business, and he's a good businessman, and he knows how to invest his money.